Hello to everybody who's praying they don't look into that one trunk. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here. I know not everybody loves an intro, so if you're looking to get right to the call, you're going to want to skip, I'd say, about 5 minutes ahead. That'll put you right towards the beginning of the call. Hi everybody, my name's Chris Gethard. Welcome to Beautiful Anonymous, a show where we, in a lovely meandering way, look at the current state of the human condition, one phone call at a time. So lucky to be your host. So overjoyed to touch base with you. Did want to let everybody know my monthly variety show that I host. It's called That Show with Chris Gethard. The one we did last month was really fun, really great. A lot of Beautiful Anonymous fans bought the streaming tickets. Guess what? If you're listening to this when it comes out on Tuesday, the 25th of February, that show is back on the 26th of February, and you can buy a streaming ticket, watch it from anywhere in the world. You have about a week to watch it once it goes live, and you can find the tickets at punchup.live/Chris Gethard. So thanks so much. It's been a very exciting project, and it's really nice. I get to host and try to do some funny stuff in my own right, but I also get to just bring comedians that I love, especially younger comedians that are doing stranger stuff. And I think comedy has become a sort of aggressive, I might say somewhat negative culture the past handful of years. I'm actually not that mad about it. Artists, go make your money. But for me, bringing some stuff that's about the experimentation, the exploration of ideas, the communal side of comedy in a positive way, it feels really good. So again, thanks to everybody who's been supporting that show, and go get that streaming ticket because we're going to do a new one this week, including a bit. These guys contacted me and told me they do a thing called the Human Blender, and I was like, I don't even need to know. Like, yeah, come do it. Come close the show. I don't know what that is. I don't need to know, but yeah, we need a Human Blender. Come on. It's going to be a fun one. Anyway, I do want to make sure I shout out. We knew it. We knew when we were recording last week's episode, which we called America's Favorite Boy, that that caller was so easy to root for. This was, of course, our friend who had dealt with some tragedy, lost parents. Some of the circumstances of how that was discovered were brutal to hear. But the caller also put himself through college, is going on big adventures in Antarctica, has intentions of coming back to Appalachia after going on life's adventures. And I knew it. I said during it, I said, you're going to get a lot of love. And if you're looking for mom/auntie energy, our community will step up. And man, in the Facebook group, we've got Rupert saying, I'm not even through listening to this ep. I'm totally late for work. I don't care. I need to say I'm so proud of you. What an amazing young man. Patricia says, wishing all good things for him in the future. Shine on. Mylene says, gosh, as a mom, I have so many emotions when I listen to this episode. I'm so proud of you. I'll be rooting for you. Your mom did such an amazing job raising a wonderful human. And it goes on and on. People were really struck by the episode, and a lot of our community stepping in. I mean, Patty saying, as a mom, you're amazing. I'm so proud of you, caller. The world's given you a lot to be mad about, but instead you're using that energy and giving back to make a good impact. Just people really seeing this caller. That caller had a big impact on our listeners. And thanks to everybody who checked in and offered up those kind words to our caller. I'm reading through a bunch of them now, and it's actually very overwhelming and touching to see how much feedback the caller got. This week's episode, so thrilled to tell you about it. First thing I'm going to say is, I say this at the end as well, but really good balance of a couple stories where you're like, boom, you could hang your hat on that story, and then some long stretches of like, I think we get along. Just talk about whatever. And that balance is always so nice. I think that there's a lot of old school, new school in both. I'll say right out of the gate, I think this caller is very charming, very chill, very likable. I think the story at the beginning about the dentist is going to make everybody go, oh, no, in a way that's both super concerning and that we can't forget the fact that people are dead, but is also pretty funny to be in his connection to. It's pretty funny. And then that caller at the story at the end, the caller tells, the very last story that involves the police, you sit here, you go, ooh, that one was almost cinematic in how lucky the caller actually got. And then in between, like I said, tangents, chit-chat, and just general good vibes. A lot of things to enjoy about this call, and I really hope you enjoy it.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How you feeling? I know you said you were kicking something.
I'm bouncing back physically. Yeah, the flu has passed.
Okay, that's
I'm
good.
doing good. Yeah, the flu has moved on. The depression has not, but I'll fight through it. I always do. You know, this is just part of my life.
Yeah.
How are you?
I hear you. I'm all right. I can't complain. Just got a bunch of snow last night. It's looking nice outside. Took an hour and a half off of work to chat, so I'm glad it worked out.
I apologize that our technical difficulties extended that a little bit. My bad on our end.
Oh, it's all good. It's not a big deal. It's actually funny. As soon as the beeping went off, it was just, you just said, Andrea's gone dark. And then it just clicked. It was a very ominous intro.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you worked it out.
Some piece of my equipment is in the process of breaking, and we basically have to rebuild the whole system every single time. It's very boring and annoying for you, and I do apologize.
No big deal. Well, thanks for having me on.
Oh,
I've been a long-time listener since episode 1, so from this American Life, so it's pretty exciting.
It's a pleasure to have you. I feel lucky you're here.
Well, I don't know if Andrea told you anything, but I pretty much have been just writing down the past few months, just some fun little quips and stories, some more fun than others, but just thought it'd be fun to kind of shoot this shit and maybe share a couple of them along the way.
I love that.
But, I don't want to run the show too much as far as,
I'll follow your lead.
Making the comment. Well, the big one I did have that I started with that I do want to share before, we get sidetracked as the calls always go. But I did kind of lead with the fact that I did have a murderer's fingers in my mouth a couple times. So wanted to kind of start with that one.
Did you see a dentist who was a murderer?
That's exactly what it was, actually.
Look at that guess, baby! I deciphered it right away. That's an intriguing pitch, but I did unwrap it quite quickly.
Could have gone a lot of weird ways otherwise, but yeah. Probably.
How'd you find out your dentist was a murderer?
Well, it was probably so I moved cross country from the East Coast out to kind of mountain time area, and I was just like, all right, I'm in a new place. I'm gonna go on ZocDoc, find someone who's got some good ratings, and find a dentist out here, kind of starting everything over. I'm like, oh, this guy's got rave reviews, right? So honestly, I think 5 stars across the board. Bedside manner was a very big selling point, surprisingly. And yeah, so found this guy, went to him, I think 3, maybe 4 times. Honestly, nice guy. I would not have expected anything like that. I was like, yeah, really nice guy. Spent the time talking, whatever. Switched jobs, new insurances, didn't go there for a year or 2. And I'm working at home, and I get an email from the dentist office And it's like, as we're all saddened about the news about Dr. Craig, and I was just like, I don't even know I clicked it. Normally I just would delete something like that. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he like passed away or like something crazy happened. I'm like, I'll give it a quick Google search. So I searched it on Google, and my girlfriend was home at the time, and I just yell her name. I'm like, oh my God, my dentist just got indicted for poisoning and murdering his wife.
Poisoning?
Yeah, poisoning. So yeah, so I was like, I just couldn't even believe it. So I'm reading the article, and apparently he ordered cyanide and arsenic to the dentist office, which I believe one of the assistants like opened a box or something, like they saw it and kind of like, hey, this is for you kind of thing. And he put it in her like workout protein shake and poisoned her. And then she was like in the hospital for a week or something, and he flew out like his mistress while that was happening. And apparently he was in a ton of debt, and he took out, I think, like an insurance policy or something like that, which I don't even get how or why you can do that anymore. And yeah, she ended up passing away, which obviously is super sad. And then I was just looking it up recently again, and apparently he's got new charges for trying to convince some of the other inmates to kill the detective that's on his case as well now. So this guy just completely went downhill.
Now, do you have any fillings or crowns or anything that he placed in there that are a permanent part of you now?
I do. I have one filling. And the weirdest thing about it was like, he had this newest, nicest technology. It was like laser done. It wasn't even like drilled. And he was like, oh, you have like great insurance. And like, he was just like a very personal guy. And I'm a pretty good judge of character. I've met all sorts of people in my life. I mean, I lived in New York City for 12 years. You know, you meet a lot of people. You kind of figure out, I think, how to read people, or you don't at all. But like, I would have never seen that coming in a million years. Like, I could name 10 people right now I've met that are more likely to be murderers than
Really?
that guy. So yeah, it was like really surprising. Like, I mean, I look now at his mugshots and stuff, and he looks like a murderer now, but like, he did not look like, no one looks great in their mugshot, but he looks rough in that. But like, he was a very put together, nice, friendly guy. I was like, this is somebody I could like have a drink with. Then I found out he was Mormon, which probably adds to a lot of that stuff. And again, a little sad because I think he had like 5 or 6 kids. But yeah, crazy. So that was just one of them. One of those stories that I was like, kind of had to share that.
Have you ever thought about the fact that since you have a murderer's filling, that do you ever feel like you are more prone to murdering now? That do you ever feel like the rage of that tooth takes over your soul and your mind and your heart?
Honestly, the funny thing is I didn't even think that I had a filling, or like I didn't even think about that part of anything until you just said that. I don't think so. I think it would be alarming if I said yes, but no, I don't think so. But I think it is probably one of the weirder like mementos like that you could have. Like, tattoos have stories, all this stuff has stories, but that's a rare one. That's that's a weird thought now that you said that though.
You have them. You got the murderer's tooth, the ancient curse of the murderer's tooth. Yeah. I'd like to.
I actually have to check what tooth that is. Actually, now I don't even know what tooth it was in.
I wonder how many of our listeners know a murderer, at least to the level you did, of a dentist you saw a few times who has had his fingers in your mouth. Like, I was thinking of it, and I was like,
right?
I was like, I don't know any murder, and then I was like, no, I do know a murderer. I know I was closer with someone than that dentist and you, who murdered. Wonder what the comments section is going to be specifically on, like, to what degree, how many degrees away from knowing a murderer are you? I think that will be fun feedback for this episode.
Definitely. And like, the funny thing was, me and my friend, like a few months before, we're like at a bar just shooting the shit, and we were like, somehow we were talking about, like, we always have some pretty strange conversations. We were like, I wonder, just even living in New York City, so many people, how many people we might have just crossed paths with, like you're just exposed to that many more people, just in a lifetime. But, although I wasn't on a super intimate level of knowing him, like, it's a weird situation where, like, it's one of the few people that's a stranger and not anyone else that would be that close to you,
It is a weird level. Like, I have a dentist. I wouldn't say I know her, but she's stuck her hands in my mouth at least half a dozen times since I started seeing her a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's a weird
like,
level to know someone who has murdered. You can't answer a single question about this guy, but you've shared experiences with the same hands
Totally.
that dropped the poison into the protein shake.
Right? Yeah, it's wild. And apparently that wasn't the first time he tried, like, poisoning her either, which is also crazy. And she texted him when she was feeling bad.
Also,
and was like, did you do something to my drink? And I'm like, that's a red flag that again, I don't want to make light of the fact, like, any of that, but it's kind of a dark, like, comedy if it wasn't real, right? Like,
yeah,
it's so perfectly messed up and, like, almost written out that, like, seems like it could be like a dark comedy movie plot or something. I don't know.
Indeed. Good discussion topic.
But,
what's the closest to a murderer you are? I'll also tell you too, Andrea was instantly able to Google your murdering dentist. Instantly.
Oh my God.
You can instantly find this murdering dentist. It doesn't tell us anything about you, but you can find it very quick.
Well, I don't even know how I missed the news. And then when I post, like, I was on Instagram or something and, like, posted something, like, does anyone else know about this? And everyone's like, oh my God. I felt like even people who didn't live, in Colorado were like, oh my God. Like, I saw that on the news the other day. And I'm like, not that I'm watching the news all the time, but it's like, oh my God. Like, I don't know how long it would have been for me to, like, realize this, or if I would have realized it if I didn't happen to click that stupid email. Anyway, I'm very curious to hear these answers from everyone else.
And I have to say, too, a rousing endorsement for ZocDoc.
Well, I recently looked at the ZocDocs, like I wanted to click. I was, like, telling the story to someone, and I, like, looked at it. Obviously, his account has been deactivated, but since I booked something through him, I can still see his, like, ratings and everything, if I remember correctly. So you can still see, like, the ratings. It's just, like, all grayed out now, like, because he's, not he's doing his own kind of cavity searches, I guess. But,
I wonder if anybody managed to squeeze in a review before they locked it up. Like, if anybody, because
I don't know. Let's see if I can pull it up. Now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, no, you can't. Oh, there's another dentist with his name. That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, it's a pretty generic name.
Oh man, that sucks. And he's in Jersey. There's another one. There's another dentist in Jersey with the same name. Poor guy. If you're a dentist with that name and then someone Googles your name, dentist, and it comes up that you murder, but you just happen to share the same name and profession as a murdering dentist?
Yeah, that sucks.
Damn, that blows. That's bad for business, man.
Yeah. You were dealt some a bad hand on that one.
I mean, obviously, he did most wrong by his wife, and then most wrong by his children. And then I would maybe argue after that, maybe did the most damage to this other dentist who shares his goddamn name. Damn, that sucks.
That does suck. I think you should just not go into, like, any high, like, job or doctor or anything if you have a really generic name. You need to, like, get something ownable. You want that to be easily, the SEO on your name needs to be really strong if you're going to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's all about the SEO. It's all about the SEO.
It really is.
That's what we discuss here on this show mostly, is SEO considerations.
Exactly.
I love it.
That's one of the bigger ones I had on my list, but
Okay.
I'd be remiss not to share that one.
What else is on this list? I'm loving this.
It's just kind of weird things. I mean, I had probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. I got an email, just no subjects, no body copy, nothing, and just an attached photo. And in the photo was an illustration I made from college, tattooed on a man's calf, like the full calf, like almost like 8-inch size tattoo of this illustration I made. And it was like the most shit looking tattoo I've seen, like absolutely terribly done tattoo of my illustration, and just no context to it at all.
Are you a professional illustrator?
I'm a professional designer. I definitely do illustration, trying to get better at it and this and that. This is just something you wouldn't want. I don't think, like, I would not want this tattooed. It makes a cool sticker, but essentially it's like a Jesus, Joseph, Mary, like kind of, religious looking stained glass piece. But baby Jesus is Ronald McDonald. The Joseph is Burger King, and Mary is Wendy's. So this man got like a really poorly done tattoo of that on his calf, like super colorful, and like it's just botched. Like it is not good. So I'm like, I respond and I'm just like, whoa, like, like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's a tattoo I got a little while ago, or like a few years ago, but my friend just told me to like reverse image search your sticker. I like saw it like somewhere or something and thought it was really cool and found it online and thought I'd get it tattooed. And I was just like, I mean, I'm not even mad. I just feel bad for the guy. And I was like, hey, like, I'm totally cool with it, but I would say like in the future, definitely like reach out to, people and ask permission to get their work tattooed. But I mean, honestly, I was just like, I don't know why anyone would get that done. It was.
Do you know how he came to possess the image?
He said that he saw the sticker somewhere or something, or I saw it because I made stickers and I put them all around, like sent them out to people, like made hundreds of them, and they would just kind of pop up in the wild and stuff like that. But I think he might have just found it online, the illustration somewhere. He said he didn't even remember exactly where he found it, but he didn't like know who did it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And then he tracked you down.
But and then eventually his friend was like, "Oh, you could reverse image search this," and then it like linked to my website or something like that. And he emailed me like a few years after getting it, but like I felt like he was kind of looking for like praise and this and that, and I was just like, I don't know. It wasn't a good choice. And I have tattoos. I'm all about it, but yeah.
I am also responsible for some bad tattoos on people out there. People have tattooed quotes of mine or references to stuff I've done. And I'm with you. I'm never like there's some people who are fans of my old public access comedy show who have very large tattoos of characters from the show on their bodies. The human fish being one character and the keeper of the battle dog being another, but like taking up significant portions of their thigh. And I remember when they sent me the pictures of them, of just instantly feeling, you will regret this. You will regret this. I can't imagine a world where you don't regret this. Some
people have like a ton of tattoos, or like it's buried in there. Like there's like, that certain person that like can pull it off, but like there's some things where it's just like, this is just jarring. Like he had nothing else on his leg, and I'm like, this is not. And again, just really poorly done. Not to judge anybody too much, but like there's objectively like good and bad tattoos, and this was definitely in the bad camp. So I feel you on that. It's like a weird responsibility, but it's like also, hey, I didn't tell you to do this.
Someone once asked me to sign my name on them, and they wanted to have my name tattooed on them because I met Morrissey, the singer, and I got his name tattooed on me. And someone once approached me at a show and said, I want you to sign me the way that Morrissey signed you. And I couldn't do it. And they were very heartbroken. So we compromised, and I drew a heart and put CG very small.
Okay.
But I'm like, I can't draw
that feels better.
I can't scribble the word Gethard on your body and then you go and get that tattooed. I can't do it.
Yeah. You've had enough childhood, trauma from that you could foresee the problems of that.
You don't want that smoke. I deal with it every day. You don't want that smoke. And we'll pause there. If you're listening, if the person who asked me to sign you for my name on your body is listening, I know I sort of bailed, but it's a lot. I explained this last name a lot. Anyway, we've got some ads. We'll be right back. Tell you what, I'm not a great sleeper. When I'm stressed out, turns out that sleep is one of the things that really goes quick. If I'm feeling stress, anxiety, whatever it is, it affects my sleep. But you know what I've learned is that sleep is in and of itself is self-care. There's self-care aspects to sleep. If I can make my sleep really pleasant and good, sometimes it can have the reverse effect. Sometimes a great night's sleep helps with the stress, the anxiety, the things that sometimes affect the sleep. It's a revelation to realize it goes both ways. And I'll tell you what, you can upgrade your sleep experience, and you can consider that self-care in a very valid way. You're going to want to go ahead and check out Boll and Branch, the softest 100% organic cotton sheets out there. You can just upgrade your sheets one time, and it will get you years of better sleep because these sheets are luxurious. They will help the experience. They will make you look forward to bed. They will make your bed a place of peace instead of a place of tossing and turning and stress. No matter what kind of day you have had, I promise you're going to sleep at least slightly better with Boll and Branch products. And I know that because that is true for me. And all of their products are great, and the sheets are designed to get softer with every wash. And if you want to just check them out, guess what? They have a 30-night guarantee. I personally have a waffle blanket on my bed from Boll and Branch, and it is a truly great blanket. I honestly don't totally understand how blankets work, and I didn't realize that until I got this Boll and Branch waffle blanket, because I am used to blankets that go in one of two directions, which is either they're really light and they don't provide enough warmth, but they don't feel like they're suffocating me, or they're heavy and they provide enough warmth, but I'm feeling a little suffocated. And I've just always had to, I just kind of sleep in one of those heat registers where I've had to go, what do I want? Slightly cold or suffocation? But then this waffle blanket, I don't know how to explain it except to say that it breathes and it doesn't feel suffocating and it still provides all the warmth and heat I need. And it's an actual game changer that makes me look forward to going to bed. And we put that on our bed, and I felt that upgrade kick in immediately, and I felt the sleep experience get better instantly. It's really a quality product. Boll and Branch products are made different so you can sleep better at night. Woven with the finest 100% organic cotton on earth, crafted by artisans who earn the pay and respect they deserve. Those signature hemmed sheets, designs and colors for every bedroom style and mattress size. All-season sheets that have a breathable, unmatched softness to start. They get softer with every wash. The perfect foundation for Boll and Branch's airy bed blankets, cloud-like duvets, and so much more. And again, they have the 30-night worry-free guarantee. You can try Boll and Branch sheets for an entire month. Seriously, go wash them, style them, feel the difference for yourself, risk-free. If they do not change the way you sleep, send them back, get a full refund. That's confidence in the product right there. Now is your chance to change the way you sleep with Boll and Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/beautiful. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/beautiful. Save 15%. Exclusions apply. See site for details. So excited to once again tell you about Quince, who has become a real partner to us here on the show. I think a big part of this is that our listeners are out there supporting Quince, and Quince is seeing the love, And a lot of that is because people can hear in my voice the genuine fondness I have for every product I've ever gotten from Quince. And I don't lie to you guys about that stuff. Elevating my style used to mean breaking the bank. It was expensive. You go, you want to look good. You always want to have a couple items where you go, if I have a job interview, if I have a date, if I have a situation where I know I need to have the confidence that I'm wearing something that looks good, you always want to have a few things like that. But guess what? Quince can get you high-end, versatile pieces at prices you can actually afford. I can upgrade my style by snagging killer luxury essentials that sync with the vibe and with the wallet. Quince has all the must-haves like Mongolian cashmere crewneck sweaters from $50, iconic 100% leather jackets, and versatile flow knit activewear. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman, passes the savings on to people like us. And you'll be happy to hear Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes, which I really love. I love that they are on their end doing it in an ethical way that allows those of us who think in ethical fashion to have trust in them overall. Super cool. I have 2 sweaters from Quince. I love them both. One is gray, one is charcoal. They have become my go-to. I need to feel good about myself, so I'm going to put these on so I have one less thing to worry about items, and they are great. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/beautiful for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/beautiful. You'll get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/beautiful. Thanks to all of our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call. You don't want that smoke. I deal with it every day. You don't want that smoke.
Yeah, that was very responsible of you. And it's just like attaching someone's, name or something to it. Not saying you're going to kill someone and they're going to be like, I have a murderous tattoo on my arm now. But it's just good to keep a little space between that when you can.
Yeah. It was one of the things, it was. I've realized, like, as someone who makes cult following work, that you're kind of responsible for drawing the lines about not being a cult leader. And I always would joke about the cultishness of my work and the cult leader aspects of it, but I actually was pretty mindful of, like, know where that line is and really try not to cross it, man.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like, a lot of the stuff you've done and your fans definitely go hard with all your output. So I understand that.
Especially
even like Weird New Jersey's got such a, I grew up reading that. So it's funny. I actually tagged you or messaged you last year. I was back home going through my old Weird New Jersey magazines, and I was telling a friend about it. So I was back home with my parents and looking through them, and I found an old photo of you. So I think I just messaged you, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't because at the time I didn't know who you were when you were writing for Weird New Jersey. Obviously,
I was just a kid. I was a college kid.
Yeah, and I was a high school kid, So when I came across that, it was really fun to find. Because obviously I became very aware of your work and stuff after that.
I got to say, too, on Beautiful Anonymous, this hasn't come up that often, I don't think. For anybody who's like, what are they talking about? When I was
sorry.
When I was 19, I was hired to write and edit and not even write, also pack orders to bring to the post office and drive boxes and deliver magazines to bookstores and enter names into mailing lists, and then occasionally write and edit things at a magazine called Weird New Jersey, which if you don't live in New Jersey, you probably haven't heard of. But if you did grow up in New Jersey in the 1990s and 2000s in particular, but even today, people are still all about it. But it was the shit in New Jersey for kids of my generation. Like, it was a life-defining thing we had that was, you know, the shorthand would be to say that it basically broke down ghost stories specifically in New Jersey, but there was a lot more to it than that. And I'm so glad to hear that you're an old, weird New Jersey kid.
Yeah, I still got the copies. Like, it's one of those things I keep. Like, I'm not going to get rid of these. You know, like they're just so cool. I remember going down to like Borders or Barnes and Nobles or whatever, and like getting them all the time. My mom would always be like, yeah, like, you know, new one would come out, we would go down there to get it. And like, I wish I was a little older that I could like drive at the time. I guess it was a little bit before that. We tried to visit some little things here and there, but like it definitely, and not just because of this, but I grew up, and I do have something to talk to you about building off of this, but you know, we would just go around and find like abandoned places and just constantly explore. Because I grew up in Central Jersey, which I've also.
I bet I can guess some of your weird New Jersey sites. I bet I can guess the ones that were closest to your house. So you say you're from Central Jersey. So to me, this means I'm mainly thinking at this point Mercer, Hunterdon, Somerset County, although you might include Middlesex in there. Am I getting close?
I'm like, yeah, you're very close.
I'm thinking probably your abandoned mental hospital was the one in North Princeton, the Skillman Developmental Center. You ever went there?
We didn't get a chance to go there, but I did get a chance to go to, or do you want to guess? I don't want to.
Devil's Tree. You definitely went to the Devil's Tree.
Devil's Tree, yeah.
What else would you have gone to if you were a Devil's Tree kid? That was probably on the northern edge of what you used to go to. Probably also used to go hit up. Maybe tried to break into Blairsden, the Blairsden mansion with the haunted nuns, the ghost nuns.
Never got to do Blairsden, unfortunately.
Okay,
but we did get to. All right.
Yeah. What else? Walk me through this. What were your big ones?
We did a Gravity Road one time. Our friend's brother drove us out the Gravity Road to do that, which was really cool. And then did the Lambertville High School.
Lambertville High School was cool. I never went there, but the pictures were great. This was an abandoned high school, and it was really creepy. And the best part was someone had gone in and done all these chalk drawings of kids in this abandoned school, and they were really pretty chilling.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that was a really cool one. And then, I think just in general, we were just constantly trying to find abandoned places and things. And because it was really rural where we grew up. So it was like, let's just bike as far as we could go in a day and find these old places and just like explore them, find weird relics, like all sorts of stuff like that. So it was very formative growing up and a form of entertainment nonetheless.
I love it. I love thinking about those days. That was honestly the best job I've ever had. It was the best.
I mean, it seemed so cool. Like, I just remember reading them and being like glued to it and being like, this is somebody's job? Like,
yeah,
like it was super cool. And I just love the DIY, like, aesthetic to it. Like, even all the ads in the back and stuff were just so like spooky and cool and weird and like, just very, very much a time, like, being of New Jersey of like the 90s, like it was a very specific like aesthetic that was super cool.
Yeah, I was lucky to be a part of the things I've been a part of. And that was the first really cool thing I was ever a part of.
Yeah. It seemed like a cool crew. Was it Mark and Mark? Is it Mark and Mark?
Yeah, those were the dudes still doing it. They still make it. It's still great. It's still a quality magazine. It's the best.
Yeah, I should see if I could get a copy of some newer ones. It would be kind of cool to go through still.
Anyway, now you got me waxing nostalgic. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I will say one more thing about the New Jersey thing was I'm going to cross-reference another one of your things, but your New Jersey is the World podcast. One time you were talking about Central Jersey, and you made a really funny statement in passing that I doubt you'll remember, but you were just like, I don't even know what people do in Central Jersey. They're probably like really happy and their parents are still together and they like live in like Colorado or something now. And it just was like, and I was like, oh man, I feel like Chris really called me out in this one.
Fucking destroyed you. I fucking destroyed you, bro. I destroyed you.
Yeah, you got me. You got me good.
Well, it is. It's like North Jersey is like the more industrial part where, you know, you got like a lot of class conflict and you know, all the stereotypes of Jersey. And then also I think like a lot of the wealthier kids addicted to drugs and stuff. And then South Jersey, you got kids who are like getting in quad accidents and getting addicted to like huffing. And Andrea, I know you're from South Jersey and I'm playing into the stereotypes, but I'm just putting out the stereotypes. And then Central Jersey, you're like, oh, I guess there's a section of the state none of us know about growing up where you just like you grow up in a house where like your neighbors don't bother you, but also you don't live in the Pine Barrens and everybody seems pretty chill.
Yeah. I mean, I think we get the best and worst of both worlds because like we definitely like a lot of that rings true. We just had like a lot of space, so like you couldn't even see some of your neighbors, you know, or like it was like a little like spread out like that. But we also had like a lot of rich kids that liked their drugs too. But we also had quads and gotten in trouble with that stuff. It was just a little more lawless, I would say. Like my town doesn't even have a police force, so like we would just kind of do what we wanted to do. And like,
were you covered by county police or a different town or what?
Yeah, we had state and I think county. The town next to me had police, but like my best friends were like the town next to me, and there was one cop on duty at night there, and they would sit in the same place in the school parking lot facing out, and we used to like drink and hang out on the roof of that school parking lot while the cop would just be sitting facing the other way on the other side of the school. So it was very much like small town.
How old were you when you realized that your actions had no consequences?
Pretty young. I feel like you know, you're more likely just to get scooped up by like someone in town that like knew your dad, you know, or something like that, or your parents. I mean, by high school, it was like it's on, you know, like we, you know, at 14, I met like my really good group of friends, which I'm actually going to see next week for a bachelor party, which I'm excited about. But yeah, we would get in a lot of trouble. And his grandfather had a farm, like 180 acres, and we would just like, you know, kind of do what we wanted to do. And if we did get caught, like one time we did get in trouble with the cops, and like they put us in the car and like brought us back to his grandfather's and like made us shovel his driveway kind of thing. You know, it was like kind of like that. And this is the same friends who stole the Welcome to New Jersey sign off of, like a 6-lane highway.
Love that.
In the middle of the night.
That's good.
Yeah. And he still has it in his basement, which I don't think he can do anything with because it's like way bigger than you think when you go by the signs. It's like that postcard kind of sign. This is Welcome to New Jersey. Like they stole that and it's like, oh yeah, it looks kind of big when you're driving by. It's like 10 feet wide. Like it's gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know how you get that home.
They put it on the roof rack of the car and tried to kind of all stand out on the side and hold it. And then tried to tie it down and started to rip the roof rack off. So then they had to like ditch it in the woods and go get their friend's car who had a pickup truck and like put that in. It was a whole ordeal.
Now, are you a ski bum? Why'd you go to Colorado? You like weed or skiing?
Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, I like them both. And I plan on engaging in both tomorrow because we've got some fresh snow. But I mean, I lived in New York. I went to college in New York City and stayed there. I was there for like 12 years and absolutely loved it. My whole time there, loved the arts scene, music scene, DIY music scene. I went to college like right by UCB, the Chelsea location. So I was like right around the corner, go there a lot. But yeah,
you went to FIT.
I went to FIT. And I think I just wanted to change a pace. wanted, a little bit more bang for my buck. It's just a little less of a challenge of like, New York, like everything's a challenge. You're like getting on the subway and like, I'll stand right here by this pole and this will mean that I get on this door so I can stand with my back to the window door in between the train cars, and I'll get off right where I need to get the stairs to transfer. It's like always just a rat race. So I think it was just a change of pace for a while and being closer to nature and, being able to ski, hike, camp, climb, do all that stuff, and for a little bit cheaper. So yeah, and, just lived in the Northeast for the first 3 decades of my life. So I think it was just time for a little bit of a change.
How long have you been out there?
It's 5 years now.
And you like
coming
it?
Up on 5 years. I do. I really like it. It's a cool place. It's a cool jumping off spot for the rest of the country too. Like whether driving or flying, you can like just see a lot. Like 5 hours drive from like anywhere in any direction is pretty beautiful and pretty unique,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But,
that's fair. I know a bunch. I have a friend from high school who we stayed in touch marginally over the years, like enough that it wasn't weird for us to text, see how the other one was doing a couple times a year. And then we wound up living a few towns apart from each other in Jersey, had kids like within weeks of each other, had our first kids. And at one point, we even signed Cal up for like a little toddler music class. And my friend Allison was in the class with her daughter and texted me and was like, I'm pretty sure your wife and son are in this music class. And then there was one time, it was during COVID, so it took place in a park. And there was one time where they were having the kids do square dancing, and both of our kids refused to participate, which somehow led to me square dancing with the head cheerleader from my high school in the middle of a park. The point being, she was the head cheerleader. We were friendly our senior year. She thought I was funny. We always stayed in touch, but I was like, man, I'm 40 years old square dancing in a park with the head cheerleader from my high school as our bored kids ignore all of this. And she went with her family on a vacation to Colorado and just never came back. 2 kids. Was like going like, yeah, we're just going to go check it out. Like sort of open-ended vacation, tail end of COVID. Got like a place where we can have like a month to month. We're just going to go hang there and ride out the rest of COVID. Never came back. I said, man, if you just randomly move there after just being there for a little while with 2 kids, you just relocate your entire family, uproot your whole life. Colorado must be really magical. It must be, to a certain type of person, it must just be really magical.
I think for the right person, it definitely is, but that sounds like a logistic nightmare. Like I moved and I planned everything so much and this and that. And I don't, I was just moving out by myself at the time. Like, so I can't even imagine with 2 kids being able to pull off something like that is like honestly impressive. But yeah, that's wild. Have you ever gone skiing?
No, never once in my life. Never once in my life.
No.
Yeah, and for some
it didn't seem like your thing, if I'm being honest. That's like I wouldn't like necessarily like if when I picture you, I'm not like, oh, like Chris Gethard, like
I'm not even offended. I'm not even offended. The idea of me, well, there's a few things about skiing. Is 1, it's very cold. 2, you're flinging yourself down a mountain, which is generally something that my instincts tell me to avoid. Like I don't get the fun aspects of it that overcome the idea that you're flinging yourself down a mountain. And then 3, I remember at some point being invited by, like after we all graduated from Rutgers, some college friends of mine were like, oh, we're all going skiing. Do you want to come? And for some reason, my answer was Irish Catholics don't ski, which I don't think is true. I don't think that's true, but I can say no one in my neighborhood I knew growing up skied. So I mean, all those things.
I'm trying to think of, well, actually, my girlfriend is an Irish Catholic, so she does ski. But
did she grow up skiing?
But I do. She went a little bit growing up. Okay. But that's a very small pool that I'm pulling from right now. I'm like trying to go through my mind of other Irish Catholics. But I mean, it's an expensive sport. I know it's a very privileged sport too. So like, it's like something I barely did as a kid, and it was like a big treat. Like for our Christmas gift, we would go like twice a year, you know, because it's expensive. It's a weird sport too, because they advertise drinking a lot for it, and it's like the most dangerous sport even without drinking. And then, and then they're just like, oh yeah, have a couple beers in the parking lot, or like have a beer, you know, whatever. It's like playing soccer and drinking, like not so dangerous, but no one really like advertised like the players like drink lots during it. But for whatever reason, skiing and snowboarding, it's like, yeah, drink a little, go skiing, it'll be fun. And it's like so much can go wrong, even just stone cold sober going down the mountain. Like,
yeah,
kind of an interesting thing.
I've never once had anyone explain to me what they get out of skiing in a way that made me feel like that's something I've been missing in life and I need to go fill that void.
Well, I can try to convince you. I don't think it's gonna change your mind at this point, but
give
if
me
you
the
want,
pitch.
I can give you a pitch.
Give me the pitch, yeah.
I mean, I think my personal favorite thing about skiing, and I'm by no means like the world's best skier or anything, but I really enjoy going through like the woods, like the glades area. So you're not really on the open like path where everyone else is. And you kind of have like, you're kind of like tucked away in the woods and like no one else is around. And it's just kind of like very, very fast hiking where you can kind of see a lot and like kind of connect with like nature. And like when you get into like I think skiing kind of sucks when you're not good at it. And once you get good at it, it really feels nice because it feels like an extension of your body and you're actually like flowing through everything and it, like going through the trees. It's actually quite pretty and like serene and kind of relaxing when you kind of duck out into the woods from the crowd. So that's kind of my favorite part of it. But I think there's a lot of like work you got to put into it to like get to a level where you feel comfortable doing that. So I think it's like a tough sell until you get good at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotta say that pitch was not great.
Yeah, you know, fair enough. I'm gonna probably listen to this next week and be like, yeah.
You
that could have been
basically
a lot
said
better,
like
so.
it's not fun unless you put in a lot of time and work, and it's not for everybody. That was your pitch to convince me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that answer actually because the ski slopes are crowded enough. There's so much traffic, you know. That's my pitch. That's my pitch. Yeah.
That's fair.
It sucks.
Hey, I'm not out here
sucks.
trying to.
It's cold. It's expensive. Don't do it.
The last thing you need is me crowding up the slopes, man. It's the last thing you need. And let's pause there, because if you've listened for any amount of time, we all know the idea of me on a ski slope. No one would recommend it. No one thinks it would end well. It's not. We can't. It's like the skydiving. All these anyway. So many things I'm never going to do keep coming up on the show lately. We'll be right back. Supplements. You take them, or at the very least, you know you should be taking them. This is something we're all well aware of. You go to the doctor, they tell you, you gotta be thinking of this. But why are so many supplement companies out here charging crazy prices for products that are not that special? There's so much. I don't want to get too negative in the middle of an ad, but we all know it's unacceptable, the way that you feel like you're being sold to with all this stuff. It's why I want to make sure you know about Live Good, which is a brand that's turning the supplement industry on its head by doing things the right way. Live Good believes that everyone deserves access to high-quality supplements without all the insane markups. They offer premium products formulated by an industry-leading team of natural health experts, and they cut out the middleman to sell them at the lowest prices anywhere. I've been using their plant-based protein powder. It is good. It tastes good. For anybody else out there who has dabbled in the world specifically of plant-based protein powders, that is high praise. They never taste good. They get all clumpy and gross. The Live Good stuff is quality, and I look forward to it every morning. It's a game changer. They also have organic super greens, multivitamins, collagen, weight loss products, creatine, detox, hormone products, skincare products, all at the highest quality, all at prices people can actually afford. No wonder they are the fastest growing supplement brand on the planet with over 1.5 million customers and counting. Ready to make the switch and start saving? We'll make it even easier for you. Use our link and you can save an additional 10% off your first order on top of the already lowest prices. Just go to livegood.com/beautiful. Save 10% on your first order. That's livegood.com/beautiful. Don't miss out on this opportunity to invest in your health without overspending. Thanks to all of our advertisers. Now let's finish the phone call. The last thing you need is me crowding up the slopes, man. It's the last thing you need.
No, I'd like to see you on the slopes one day, Chris.
I don't know. I've gone snow tubing. That's the closest I've done.
Do you enjoy that?
I would say it was perfectly fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, cool. I went up a ski lift and then slid down a mountain on a tube. Only ever did that while on dates with people who found it interesting, and I pretended that I also found it fun. And then begrudgingly had to admit that it was a little fun.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, well, I think I know where you stand on this. I don't think you're going to get into skiing at this point in your life, and that's more than fine.
I think where I stand is firmly planted at the bottom of mountains, never at the top, looking to slide down. Okay, what else is on our list? I like it. And we've been flying. We've only got 18 minutes left.
Oh, damn. Okay. What else is on my list? I have a couple things. You could choose. I got a road trip story, which kind of feels tied into one of the callers a few weeks ago, or I got a story when I worked at a soul-sucking job at Rite Aid. So either one of those you can choose.
How long ago did you work at Rite Aid?
Like over a decade. It was just like seasonally in like the winter and summer for like a year or two in college. It was the only place that would like hire you for like 2 months out of the year or something like that. So, yeah, it was terrible.
Well, I was asking when you worked there, and I wonder if you noticed this or if this had already started when you were working there. At what point did pharmacies now seem to have a "we don't stop shoplifters" policy? And this is a thing people are talking about more and more. And I've noticed there's less humans working at pharmacies, more self-checkouts, more stuff that's locked up. Roy Wood Jr., a comedian, he has a great bit about how you have to now, anything you want to buy at a pharmacy, you have to find someone with a key and beg them to open it. Were you working in the Rite Aid system?
Finding a person that works there is the trouble.
As someone who worked there, was this before that company policy?
Yeah, this was like way before that, I think. I mean, it wasn't great, but like I know what you're talking about now. You go in there and it's like to find somebody with like a blue vest that works at this place is like a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then you're almost like, I mean, I don't, but I'm like, should I shoplift this? Like, I feel like I can't find anyone. I want to give someone money for this, but I can't, do anything.
It seems like from the outside, shoplifting's never been easier. I'm not saying people should get out there and shoplift. No. I'm just saying, seems like in certain businesses, it's never been one bit easier.
Definitely. And the Rite Aid I worked at, like, someone like the camera system, like, this place, like, was a mess. Like, as kind of they all are, but like seeing like peeking behind the curtain was like very telling. Like our camera system was like not working when I started there, like for like the whole like time I was there. Like I would come back like the next year and it still wasn't working because like one of the girls like plugged a hair dryer into the same like outlets that the camera system was on and like shorted it out, and they just like never fixed it. And we would have people that would shoplift all the time. Like we would find like bottles of like Delson or whatever that people would just like chug and like robo trip or whatever they call it, like, and just leave them. And like, it was like a mess of a place, but it was entertaining, the characters that worked there and that came in there. Yeah.
That's wild.
One of them that I was specifically thinking about was, we had a lady that came in. We had a photo department, which is like, was broken whenever we wanted it to be, because like we just didn't want to operate it like every place that you hear about, that kind of thing. And some lady came in and wanted to print some photos. So I talked to her, I think I was like 18 at the time, 19. She's like, so I want to print some photos out for my anniversary for my boyfriend or whatever. So I was like, okay, like, cool, whatever. She's like, how long will it be? I'm like, I think, a week or whatever, come back. She's like, okay, I want to buy this photo album, get these doubles, just print everything on this memory card. She drops it off. So I put it into the machine, and it is, I'm not even exaggerating, probably like 150 nude photos of her. Just like every, like when people would uploaded photo albums from like college or whatever back in the day, where you put like every possible photo, like you don't even edit down to like say like, oh, these are like the best 3 or like whatever. It was like her all around her house in different positions, but like in every single room, like in the kitchen, in the living room, in the bedroom, in the backyard, and then like 20 of the same photo, just like slightly changing, some of them blinking, and she just wanted to print all of them. I didn't really know much about the photo department, so I was like, sure, I guess we're printing them. I don't really like.
And she was nude in all of them?
She was like nude, half nude, and maybe lingerie in some of them. I'm going to be honest, those ones obviously didn't stand out as much, but I would say there were close to 100 nude photos of her in this. And she wanted doubles, which I just found, I don't know, funny. So whatever. I was like, I don't really care. So I think looking back now, we probably had a policy against this. It was pretty lawless. So I print them all out, get them all. She comes back in a week to pick them up. I happen to be working that day again. I charge her for everything, and she goes, that's way too expensive. I don't want the photos. So I'm like, all right, lady. I mean, like, I'm not going to, I can't force you to take these photos, but now we're stuck with like 300 nude photos because you wanted doubles on top of everything.
And how old were you at this time?
I was like 19, probably.
Oh,
18,
here I
19.
am, a 19-year-old boy, and I'm stuck with 300 nude photos of this lady.
For what I will say is, I did shred every single one of them. We had.
Good on you. That's a Jersey guy right there.
I did not want to be caught in any of that.
That's a Jersey guy. You do the right thing. That's the Jersey in you.
But I will say, me and a couple of coworkers were standing around the shredder as we were like individually shredding each one, which is completely unnecessary. You could probably stick like, 5 or 6 at a time in there. And we were literally like, looking at each one and just placing it through the shredder. It was a pretty funny story though. One of the funny, I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't like that expensive. Like, I don't know what she was expecting the price to be, but the fact that she was like, that's too expensive, like never inquired about the price, kind of just dropped off the memory card and was pretty confident about the whole thing until it came to the price, unless they just broke up or something.
Who knows? Or maybe she just was an exhibitionist. Maybe she just wanted you and your coworkers to see her nude. She had some sort of fetish where she got off knowing that you all looked at her naked body, and that's what she was in it for. And she wasn't looking to spend cash ever. It was all a ruse from the start.
Maybe. I mean, it's questionable because although I was 18 or 19, I probably looked like I was 15 or 16 at the time. As you look back at photos of you when you're like a freshman in college and you're like, man, I look young. So a little questionable if that was her motive, but okay. I don't know.
I also wanted to say one thing just to have it on record from my end. I know that it is a dialogue now that pharmacies are being shoplifted from left or right. And I just want to say on my end, personal opinion is there's some people who I think, whatever you think about it, I would just say if you ever see anybody out there and they're shoplifting diapers or baby formula, you didn't see nothing.
Totally.
Look the other way. You didn't see a thing. Until they make it that food stamps can buy diapers, you didn't see a thing. If they want to rig the system,
100% with you.
People on government assistance can't use that assistance for baby supplies, then that alarm didn't actually go off. If they're stealing other stuff, you can choose if you want to call the cops. But if somebody out there is facing diaper insecurity, nah, you didn't see a thing on that one. That the system's rigged.
Oh, I'm totally with you. I'd read the room on what's happening, who's taking what, for sure on that one. Not that I'm condoning anyone to do anything, but I think there are certainly justified things in that. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm not a big like anarchy crime guy, especially not at the age of 44 as a dad. But that one,
yeah,
I do sit there and I go, Eminem has a line from way back in the day. These damn food stamps, they don't supply diapers, and then you look into it and you realize, oh, really? People on food stamps can't use them for baby supplies. You're punishing poor people. Okay, then I guess that stuff just gets
messed up.
If that stuff gets shoplifted, I'm more okay with that than somebody shoplifting like,
Yeah, these are basic needs that people and kids need. So
somebody's stealing a bunch of Skittles. Maybe you call the cops. Maybe you don't. Somebody who's out here stealing a bunch of stuff they're going to resell.
Skittles is going to be all right.
Skittles will be fine, but you know what I mean. Like when it
I know.
crosses over into basic life supplies, then you sit there and you go, okay, everybody bite your tongue. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
I'm glad I've not been at the farm. I mean, I'm so glad I'm not working that job anymore. I worked a lot of jobs in my life, and that was by far the worst. And I can't even imagine what it's like now with
my goodness,
the way the state of pharmacies. It's a weird term, but yes. Yeah. I
have, in the past year, been in situations where I've gone to buy something in a New York City pharmacy. If I'm in the city, pharmacies have everything. So sometimes you're in New York, you take the train in from Jersey, you go, I need X, Y, and Z. All right, the
Dwayne
pharmacy.
Reed.
Oh my goodness. I've had experiences in New York City pharmacies in the past year where you go, I don't even understand who unlocked the door because there's literally no one working here. There's literally not a human being who seems to be in any sort of control. I don't know what's happening here. Actual chaos unfolding. I love it.
And I feel like they're more dimly lit now. Like shelves are just more empty. Like it feels like somewhat like the early stages of a zombie apocalypse movie where people are prepping and things are taken away or it's is this place closing? I'm am I allowed to be here right now? Some of the places look pretty rough in New York and elsewhere.
It's a common conversation topic amongst people like you and I, and sort of a very easily memeable thing right now. But it would not be shocking if in decades hence they look back and go, the explosion of pharmacies driven by the opioid crisis was indicative of certain societal ills, and then the shutting down of pharmacies as automation took over, everything became self-checkout, and they stopped caring about people looting their shelves represented the downfall of capitalism in a way that we will study from the future, and that is hard to totally pin down right now as it happens. Wouldn't be shocked if you could track pharmacies and their rise and fall as the tip of the spear of the problematic aspects of capitalism at any given point in human history.
You heard it here first.
You did. What can I say? I ramble a lot, but I'm a pretty smart guy when it comes down to it.
No, I think that's totally valid.
Hey,
where are we at with time, Chris?
5 minutes if you want to blow my mind. If you've been sitting on a 5-minute banger, now's the time.
5-minute banger. What could I talk about in 5 minutes? I'll do a quick one on there's two stories that could be good. I will do a quick one on my road trip with one of my best friends and his cousin years and years ago. We did like a 10,000-mile loop around the United States for like a month and a half, just, camping out, sleeping in the car, side of the road kind of thing, hitting up national parks, which everybody needs to protect. Really fucked up what's going on with that shit right now. But we were on the tail end of our road trip. We're driving through. Oddly enough, we stopped in Colorado as our first. We went New York to Colorado. That was like our starting point. So we packed up. We stocked up on lots of goodies from Colorado. We're getting stuff for friends, this and that too. So we had a pretty packed car. This was like the last half a week of our road trip. So we're kind of heading back. We're going through Texas. We slept in Roswell the night before because we wanted to get like alien T-shirts and stuff like that and just see the weird town. And then we were going to drive straight across Texas to Austin, spend a night with my friend, and then drive up to Columbus. My friend with us was getting a tattoo up there, and then head back to like New York, New Jersey. We're driving through Texas. My friend's driving, and we hit a speed trap kind of thing where, it just goes from like 75 to 35. He missed a sign, and it was like too late. This little blip of a town, cops waiting. So we get pulled over, and it's like stereotypical, like West Texas cops, like 6'5", like brick house kind of like dude with like lips full of chewing tobacco, straight brim, like trooper hat, like out of a movie. He starts talking to my buddy, said he smelled something in our car, which he probably did, and ended up saying like, do you have anything in the car? Me and my buddy were both kind of like looking at each other. We both pull him aside and we're like, hey, we do have a little bit of stuff in our car because he was going to search it. I just want to let you know his cousin, it has nothing to do with his cousin. His cousin was a little younger. He was very innocent, and we're like, we don't want him involved in it. And the cops were like, we do appreciate that. We respect you saying that. They call in a K9 unit to search our car.
Oh no!
Which we thought it was a joke. We were like, all right, and then we see like the car, like the next cop car pull up, and it just says K9 on the side of it, and we were like, fuck.
And to be fair, you did have intent to distribute. Like, they're not wrong.
Oh, we definitely had intent to distribute. I will say we pretty much were on our like last little bit of weed. We were going to get more in Austin from my friend, but we did have pretty much our car was packed. 3 of us in there for a month and a half. Stuff for like snow, stuff for like summer because we were all over the country. It was like fall. A bunch of crap, and we had like a chest where we put stuff that like we weren't using. Like we were in the like summery time area, so we had all our like winter clothes in there. And we had probably like $500 worth of edibles in there and barely any weed. So they go through our car. We have to take everything out of the car, like line it up on the sidewalk. And this dog is just going wild, like going through stuff, found our little bit of weed. And they look at it and they're like, this isn't from Mexico. And we're like, yeah, I don't know. Like we're not going to say we were in Colorado or whatever. But he was like kind of complimenting our weed and trying to kind of get us to speak or something. Kind of brushed it off. Dog kind of finds the like little bit we have left. Everything's out on the sidewalk except for the black trunk. The cop goes up to us. Oh, at one point he goes, just so you know, if you try to make a run for it, this dog will go after you. And I'm like probably a little stoned and make a little joke. And I'm like, oh, it's a little too hot to run. And the crickets you could hear when I made that joke and the cop looked at me was palpable. So they pretty much, he goes, you guys have been really honest, all this other stuff. He's like, we're looking for trafficking, like pounds of weed from over the border. We're like, oh no, we were in Mexico. He's like, I'm going to let you off with the ticket. You can go down to the courthouse right now and pay it off. And I kept thinking, he literally opened every bag except for the black trunk that like is totally going to show that we are not being honest. And I thought it was like a setup. He was like, oh, and then we're just going to look at the black trunk. Literally everything out of the car but that. Just pack up the car. You're good to go. We're like, we'll pay the ticket right now in the courthouse, so there's no problems, nothing. So we go down with them. And I kept thinking, they're like, let's just check that black trunk. But they never did. And that was filled with, again, like intent to distribute, like could have really ruined my future kind of thing. And I know I'm probably pretty privileged being a white guy in this situation. I will say that.
I mean,
but
we just ran out of time, and you wrapped up the story right as we hit 0. That's
all right.
a hell of a tense tale. You got lucky on that. You got lucky on that one, huh? I think we're past the point in society of like, don't do drugs, kids. I think it's more nuanced than that, and legalized weed is a good societal development. I do think don't think you're cool enough to drive around the country like Hunter S. Thompson, like Johnny Weed Seed for all your friends spread out all over the place. That could catch up with your kids.
Yes, I echo that. Be smart.
I have to thank everybody who's been listening on the free feed. If you want more with this very laid-back caller whom I have great vibes with, beautifulanonymous.com. You can sign up and support the show. Caller, thank you so much. That conversation was lovely. A great combo of a couple stories that are tentpoles and then a lot of just feeling it out. Well done. Thank you to our producer, Andrea Quinn. Even though the callers have identified your weakness, if you want to know more about what I'm saying with that one, beautifulanonymous.com for more with each caller. Thanks to Shellshag for our theme music. punchup.live/Chris Gethard if you want tickets to any of my shows. We've got a voicemail line, 973-306-4676. We're on Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod. Join the Facebook group at Beautiful Anonymous, the community. We're also on TikTok now, and we actually got one caller from it, so I guess it's worth something. Thanks for listening, everybody. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. What's one thing you'd like to leave as your legacy on Earth? No pressure. But man, what a big question.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, I left that tattoo on that guy, so I'm not sure how long he'll be around for.
Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.